Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motormouth, Fast Eddie Lane, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
This is Kenny Kip Kennedy, master of Kenny's Kempo Karate.
Hier spricht Tassilo Jung von Western Extreme Wrestling.
This is the Dark Child, Chance Crawford, NWA National Heavyweight Champion.
This is the Temptation, Sean Tempers.
This is Jacoby Boykins, a.k.a. the Alabama Ambassador, Mr. 256.
This is the Bee's Knees, the Casper Pajamas, and the whole shebang. Johnny Gargano.
This is Bill Behrens, and you're watching, you're listening, you're experiencing Beyond Ringside. And you are a better person for it. Trust me.
Welcome to the original rock and wrestling radio show. Welcome to Beyond Ringside, your source for wrestling, MMA, and boxing in the Southeast. To contact the Ringside Roundtable of Beyond Ringside, email them at beyondringside@gmail.com. And now, your host for Beyond Ringside, the man, no myth, all legend, Fast Eddie Lane.
The music plays, the microphones go hot, and we are live on a Sunday, 27 before the top of the hour. Thank you, Mike Macaroni, for the intro. Always happy to hear from the cheesiest announcer in the business. Live from a multiple location station, you got him, Fast Eddie Lane, live from Studio One. Welcoming in, Mark Mabo Bowman.
Vagisil.
Welcoming in from Bohemian Grove, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis.
So much dry wit, it's like a desert.
Wrong movie sound effect. Damn it. I couldn't think of the one that I wanted to use. I had something in the brain, and it just never really effectively left there. It happens like that. First off, thank you to everybody listening in via BeyondRingside.com, TuneIn Radio, TuneIn mobile app, Shoutcast, Winamp, and the Beyond Ringside Radio app, available for Android, BlackBerry, and on Amazon as well. March 1st, Apple. Plain and simple. Been a crazy week. Hoping everybody's having a good one so far. First off, I'll throw it out there. Mark Mabo Bowman, what's on the brain, buddy? How you doing?
Vagisil.
Shoot me now.
Hashtag Vagisil.
Okay. Hashtag he needs a drink but doesn't drink. Lord. Now, Wick, why did I think you had a road trip yesterday?
Well, actually, I didn't. UIW was canceled because they were doing they were remodeling, quote unquote, the West Georgia Auto Auction Center. But I just think that they didn't want me there. I think that's what it was. They probably canceled after the last time after I made the little retarded kid cry. Well, sorry, mentally challenged. I'll say that.
Okay. Note for the day. If you're on the other side of the guardrail, you're fair game. If you're on this side of the guardrail, everyone's a target. And in the words of somebody under this roof, everyone's a victim. If you're going to cry, make it count. If you're going to whine, you're going to pay extra next time you come in the door. Right, Wick?
You're 1,000% correct, sir.
You know, I've been taking a look at different things going on with everything from ROH, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, did make it all the way through Raw, most of SmackDown, part of Impact. Lucha Underground did not get caught on my DVR this week, for I am mortally pissed because they just had a great track record running. Having a chance to catch up with a lot of things going on, and I did not even know, and this is where I fault myself, until I saw the message from Mabo earlier today, and yes, Mabo, this is a cue. I didn't even, honestly, I swear, and I feel bad for this, I didn't even know that National Pro Wrestling Day was today.
Yep.
That's why he is known as Commentator of the Year, kids.
Yep. Actually, I think last year it was a little bit earlier, because I distinctly remember it was before I had my rotator cuff surgery, but I remember I had left work early and I was able to catch the broadcast on YouTube. Unfortunately, this year they did not
televise it.
Yeah, well, broadcasted. I won't say televised because you'd have to be on television. But no, they didn't broadcast it across the YouTubes. I know last year they were trying to raise money, and they exceeded their donations last year because they were raising money to get nets for people in like swampy third world areas that were having to deal with mosquitoes and malaria. This year it was something about, I think it was SEVA, something about helping little kids see.
Okay.
And it's got to be SEVA or SEMA, something like that. But they were trying to raise money to help kids see. So, you can't argue with that. Unless, the poor kids, the first thing they see after the surgery is a picture of Smart Rage, then, well, they're screwed.
Damn it.
They're ripping the corneas out, screaming, "No, Mommy!
Mabo.
No, not the albino grimace! No!"
Mabo.
What?
Stop.
What?
Stop.
Oh, it's a shtick. It's a gimmick. It's a bit. Yeah, that's what it is. Oh, it's all for poops and giggles. Yeah.
Continue.
But, yeah, and then they also held it on a Saturday last year.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. But, anyway, today was National Pro Wrestling Day, so happy National Pro Wrestling Day, everybody. A little bit less of a scale than it was last year, because I know they had a bunch of different people from various promotions. But
Yes.
then again, this was, I think the reason why it was, broadcast last year was this was, was the return of Chikara.
Right.
So, but the Chikara's back, and this mainly seemed like a Chikara-heavy card, if you will. So, but it was free for anybody that was up in the Pennsylvania area. You could just, I'm sure they were like, it's like when you go to like a museum or some junk, they're like, hey, suggested donation. You can come in for free, but you put a little something in there, a little something for the kitty. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they how many matches they put on?
Look like 8.
9 matches.
9.
9.
9.
And how many matches should we put on, Fiora? 9.
Say it, Wick. I figured if anybody would say it perfectly, it'd be him, but no, there he disappeared again.
Right. Regardless, just looking over the results, I mean, it looked like it was a fun show. A couple of guys who normally would have only been like on Wrestling is Fun made their, I guess you could say, their Chikara debut. Burp. Had a couple of some familiar faces return. So, yeah, I would definitely. I don't know if they're going to have it out for DVD. They normally don't, but maybe they'll set something up.
Well, didn't they have it on VOD last year as well?
But once again, that's because they filmed it. It was broadcasted.
Right.
They broadcast. I know later. I know on down the road in 2014, and then part of Snow Day, Chikara did put on their part where it was Dasher Hatfield versus Eddie Kingston. So I mean, I'm sure we'll see bits and pieces of it. But it's some solid matches, very solid matches. If anyone is interested, I can go over them, if you will.
Well, tell you what, do me a favor. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I said, if anybody.
Actually, do me a favor and hold up on that one for one short second, and we will come back to it. I know that when we were getting ready for the lead-in for the show, Wick said he had a couple of major things he wanted to hit on real quick. So I'm going to bring Wick back into the circle, and I'm actually going to make Wick's day.
Okay.
Because remember the last conversation we had that there was a problem with the commentary during the match, that it wasn't going to air properly?
Yes.
Well, guess what? I reset everything, and it was a YouTube issue, not an Eddie issue. So the recording of you and the Sevenfold Saints doing commentary for GCW TV is intact.
Thank God. I'm sure several people will be happy with that. not going to lose their heads and nobody be yelled at.
Except for people.
It all fell on me because it was my idea for us to do commentary. So.
Well, see, originally I thought it was you who was going to do commentary.
Well, you know what? It just so happens that Steven Styles and Clyde Braddock both had some things they wanted to say on commentary, which, Mabo, I can't wait for you to hear. Good times were had by all.
Hey, and I got a break on the deal. I'm good.
But Wednesday, I've got to go, guys. I've got a lot planned this evening with Miss Angie, as my kids call her. And just want to let everybody know that WVI Desk, Wrestling Vision International, their host, and I'm going to butcher his name, Dara O'Connor. He is about as Irish as they can get. Is going to be on Wednesday night on the To Be Determined show, so be looking out for that. It's not too often you see a man that reviews, commentates, and plays the bass guitar in a real band. So be looking forward to that. So it's going to be a hell of a show. Eddie may be getting a contact request very soon from this gentleman. So
Okay.
But guys, I've got to go. Mabo, thank you for letting us know about National Pro Wrestling Day. Now it's National Redhead Moment. So.
You going to throw the rest of the shameless plugs out there real quick?
Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Beyond Ringside Radio Network, beyondringside.com. The To Be Determined show. You can contact me at Wicked Nemesis to book Clyde Braddock and Steven Styles, the Sevenfold Saints. Enoch Tessarian on Facebook. The Wicked Nemesis, the Merchants of Death, the Sevenfold Saints, the Unlucky Charms, and the To Be Determined show all have Facebook fan pages. Give us a like and a share if you can and if you will. Guys, thank you all. Mabo, I hope those cats were found, because I know that is a huge loss to a certain individual.
Not yet. Everybody's still looking, and I'll cover that later on the show. But before you go, I was hoping you would stay on longer so I could do this. I could work it in, and now it's just going to be forced. But Grace, the boy's leaving us for the redhead again.
I'll see you guys. You guys have a wonderful evening.
Take care, brother. Yeah, I know when he leads in before we go on air like that, I know that he's wanting to get in and out, so to speak. No comment. So I went ahead and...
Dang it.
Say what?
Dang it.
No comment.
The reason why he's trying to get in and out is so he can go get in and out.
There you go. Okay, pick it up where you left off. National Pro Wrestling Day and the results.
Oh, well, God, I got to reach like 2.5 feet to grab my tablet again. Ass hat.
Okay, hat ass. While you're doing that...
I don't have to. Dude, it's not like 2.5 feet with that far of a distance. Come on, dude.
Well, the way you were sounding is like you were going across the country.
Across the country and around the world. Coast to coast and border to border.
Okay.
Anyway, our favorite, or at least Eddie's, because he hopes to one day steal the bow tie from him, Juan Francisco de Coronado, or as Eddie likes to overly accentize his name, would be what, Eddie?
Ecuador's finest export.
No. Go ahead. When you over
go with it.
Do it. Come on.
I am not going to do it. Continue.
Anyway, old JFDC took on Fire Ant, and surprisingly, well, not really surprisingly, JFDC won with a German suplex. For a little guy, he does a vicious German suplex. I don't know if you've ever caught that, but from the destruction off of a missile assault ant from Colony Force Extreme, and a man of 3 words, those being missile, assault, and ant. But yeah, so I was kind of surprised to see Fire Ant go under. It was just kind of odd. But every year, or at least every year, it's 3rd year, they do a year award. I know the first year was, I want to say Colt, maybe? Colt Cabana.
Okay.
I know last year was, I want to say Bill Apter, maybe. I don't remember. I had them written down. I guess I deleted them. But this year's award was given to Jeff Rudd. For those who don't know who Jeff Rudd is, he's the co-founder of CWF and also High Spots TV. So High Spots, not just videos, not just DVDs and stuff like that. You can actually go and watch the stuff over on High Spots TV.
Yep.
Match number 2, points are in play. The Assyrian Portal, Ophidian and Amasis, took on the Block Party. Somebody who I've been waiting to see. I caught him briefly last year, the Proletariat Boar of Moldova, who has a wonderful shirt, by the way, if you could ever order it. It's done in the old Raw is War logo style. It's black, and it says Boar is War. And from what I've heard, if you've seen the appearance and all the scuttlebutt I've heard, is an homage to Sean Waltman, Prakash Sabar. Never have I seen an artificial tongue like this coming off of a lucha mask. But it is hilarious. Anyway, like I said, points are in play. And they start off with a match with a World's Sexiest Man contest between Amasis and Prakash. The Best Tongue Award went to Prakash. The Best Pose Award went to Amasis. The dance-off, there was a no winner because the Proletariat Board tripped Amasis. And since there was no clear-cut winner, it was deemed a no contest, but they gave the tiara and pennant to Bryce Remsburg anyway, and Lord knows he deserves it.
There you go.
Match, long story short, 360 splash and a pin by Amasis on Prakash, the Osirian Portal win, and now they have 3 points, and they can cash those in for a Campeonatos de Parejas title match in the future. Shinron, one half of Ninjas with Altitude, took on one half of Devastation Corporation, Max Smashmaster. And once again, and I don't really know, because I didn't get to see the broadcast, but Missile Assault Ant came out and distracted Shinron. Smashmaster hit the tombstone, and Smashmaster won, but don't really know why they had Missile Assault Ant do that twice. It's kind of odd. And what some are saying was like a pure wrestling match. Drew Gulak, who we've had on the show before.
Yep.
And for those of you who watched, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood?
Yep.
He is on there.
Yep.
Took on smooth sailing Ashley Remington, and which, if you know Ashley Remington, he's a good wrestler, but he's more of a comedic style. But they said this was very serious, straight up submissions and roll ups, sunset flips, and all that stuff. And once again, this was kind of surprised me too. Ashley Remington got the win, and Drew Gulak, as all of the people who fall victim to Ashley, received the fruit basket. And not the fruit basket where you tuck your wiener back behind your legs and bend over. An actual fruit basket.
Nice.
Although I think that would make a much better ending to a match if somebody just did that. Gavin Loudspeaker came out, promoted, it says here, SEMA charity. I thought it was SEVA.
SEVA, yeah.
It is SEVA. I thought so. So I guess whoever wrote this, well, I mean, obviously they don't know how to spell. They misspelled Amasis' name. Anyway, SEVA. Gavin came out, promoted it, and let everybody know that he is the official NPWD spokesperson to SEVA. A rematch from what we saw on Snow Day, which was, let's say, from last year. Anyway, it was, Eddie, you remember the match, Old Fashioned versus Los Ice Creams?
Yeah.
Well, they did it all again, but a little bit different stakes. If Old Fashioned won, then Los Ice Creams would have to perform Romeo and Juliet with both Old Fashioned and Princess Kimberly. That was right. That's right. It's a Shakespeare recitation challenge. So, what do you think happened, Edward?
I'd be willing to bet Los Ice Creams won.
Nope. Old Fashioned won. Shakespeare was recited. And apparently this match was full of nothing but the funny wackiness you see in Chikara. Mr. Touchdown took on Blaster McMassive. And, dude, I don't understand why Blaster McMassive has not been signed to the WWE. The dude is huge. The dude can go.
Yeah, and he can move.
Huh?
And he can move, too.
Understand how this guy hasn't been signed.
Especially knowing how much Vince loves the big boys.
Exactly. It's like the same thing. He reminds me, for those of you who want to get to watch Championship Wrestling of Hollywood, reminds me of Othello.
Yeah.
I think with about a year, if you put McMassive or Othello, give him about a year or two in NXT, you could have a superstar in less than 5. That's just my opinion. I just think you could. That's just me, though. Anyway, no contest because Smashmaster came down, then that caused Dasher to leave commentary. So it ended up in a no contest. Dasher made a challenge to the Devastation Corporation for a match later on, but it wasn't a tag match, though. It was a multiple-man team match for the main event. They took intermission, came back. Princess Kimberly versus Jenny Rose. I know a little bit about Kimberly. Never heard of Jenny Rose. Long story short, Kimberly won. The debuting for Chikara tag team of NRG, Race Jackson and Hype Rockwell. Now, I think they were in King of Trios Battle Royal, the tag team gauntlet Battle Royal last year. But I think this would be their first full official match. They took on the Flying Francis, I think out of Quebec, from what if I did my notes. I want to say that I heard they were from Quebec. Flying Francis, Braden O'Connor, and Matt Novak. Look them up because I heard they're actually pretty good. But winners of the match, NRG. The main event, sit down, kid. There's going to be some names here. One side, only Rudo's side. You had Max Smashmaster, Blaster McMassive, Oleg the Usurper, Prakash Sabar, the Proletariat Boar, Mr. Azerbaijan, which I would love to have him on one day, Juan Francisco, El Hijo del Ice Cream Jr., and the returning Shane Hawk, the gingerest ginger in the world. Yes, even more ginger than Darren Corbin. And they took on the technical side of Dasher Hatfield, Mr. Touchdown, Worker Ant, Fire Ant, Marion Fontaine, and Jervis Cottonbelly. Of course, that's old-fashioned. And the screen rotated. Son of a gun. Give me a minute. And let's see, Ophidian Amasis, Argus, he's one of the new trainees, and the returning Shane Storm, which I'm happy to see Shane Storm back. Just from what I've seen of the pictures, there was the longest chain submission ever, which, if you know Chikara, you know how they like to do the... Yes. And when they say chain submission, they don't mean, chain wrestling. They literally mean sleeper hold on top of a 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 sleeper hold. Well, apparently this went all the way out into the audience, and somebody said Ultra Mantis Black was there and got involved. That's what I saw in the pictures. But there was that. Los Ice Creams got into it with Devastation Corporation. Shane Storm whipped out his trusty stop sign and, I guess, walloped the hell out of Oleg, Prakash, and Shane Hawk. Apparently at one point, Mr. Azerbaijan sat in the audience and put on a El Generico mask.
Nice.
But it ended when Argus offered a super anthill made by Touchdown, Fire Ant, and Amasis, and Dasher, onto Shane Hawk for the win. And that was it. I mean, didn't have a big reveal like last year with the return of Chikara and then the 8-man tag match. But still, it looked like a good, solid show. So if you were in the Pennsylvania area, I'm trying to find out where exactly it was.
Normally, it's in Easton, Norristown.
Well, it wasn't at the.
It was in Norristown. Yeah, it was at the Greater Norristown, PA Police Action League Gymnasium. 340 Harding Boulevard.
I know it wasn't at the old. Wasn't at the old Funplex.
Right.
I know that much. So, but once again, I always encourage everybody. You would think, honestly, that Chikara, like Quack and the Chikara front office were putting money in my pocket. They're not. But like I said, this is a company that's near and dear to my heart. Anytime you get to check out their stuff, whether it's through the event center on their YouTube page, whether it's from Smart Mark Video, where you get the DVDs, or you can get their streaming where they have Chikara stuff sometimes. Do it. It's a fun company. It's a great company. It's one hell of an alternative and they put on a very family-friendly product.
Oh, yeah.
And it's something that you don't have to explain to your kids, something that maybe a 9 or a 10-year-old shouldn't have to, go through.
Well, I'd noticed something when I was doing the research a little while ago, and you were first telling me, it's like, holy crap, what happened? Where is all this going? So I pulled up the old web address, nationalprowrestlingday.com, and it actually goes over to ChikaraPro.com.
Yeah, because they're the ones that really started. They started it not last year, but the year before. And once again, I think it actually was last year or the year before. I think it was on a Sunday as well. So hopefully, like I said, I don't know the reasons why they weren't able to broadcast it this year. Because this is just me. I think that I'm not sure how much money they raised. But I can almost guarantee you that if they would have broadcast it, then I think they could have got some more donations.
Yeah. And remember, last year, National Pro Wrestling Day was encompassed a number of different companies, including the Wrestling Is umbrella, which, of course, a lot of people realize the fact that there is an indirect tie-in between Wrestling Is and Chikara. So you had a number of different companies that were more prevalent, whereas Chikara was working on the comeback. You had other shows that were out there and visible.
Ring of Honor had some participants.
Yeah.
There was a lot of companies that pitched in. So.
And you also have to remember, and if this is this was being backed by Chikara this year first and foremost, Chikara has also just wrapped up 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago.
Their season premiere.
Yeah, A New Start.
Yep.
And a lot of familiar faces were on that show. The Wrecking Crew were there. The Throwbacks.
Yep, definitely. See, I was kind of hoping it would be broadcast, and then we'd excuse me, and that I know they're only one show in, but I it's kind of like when you every season that Chikara starts, I kind of akin it to when Buffy the Vampire Slayer was on TV.
Right.
And you always want to, and trust me, anybody who's a fan of the Whedonverse, and especially Buffy and Angel, you'll get the reference when I say this. You always want to find out what this season's big bad is. Meaning, who's the villain, who's the antithesis, I hope I'm using that right, of that year's season.
Right.
Obviously, it was Condor Security and the whole thing going down, with the shutdown before, Chikara closed. And then, obviously this year was the flood, or I guess last season technically was the flood. And it's been everything from Aikido to, even Ring of Honor itself kind of started taking them on to Neo Solar Temple. Just tons of different, and I'm kind of curious because I can almost see where the big bad was going at the end of last season.
Right.
When, Deucalion was, he was vanquished. He's gone. The flood's dissipated pretty much. But with Jakob Hammermeyer getting a hold of the Eye of Tyr, and then you've still got Soldier Ant and Snow Troll, are they under the control of the Eye? You've got, I think Jakob handed it over to Delirious or something at some point, because if you've noticed, there was a name who's usually a Chikara staple that was missing from this year, and that was Hallowicked.
Right.
Well, Hallowicked and Frightmare both turned on Ultramantis Black at the end of last season.
And matter of fact, speaking of Hallowicked and Frightmare, they teamed up to defeat the Batiri, Frightmare pinning Kadama back at A New Start.
Yeah. So the question remains, who's going to be the big bad this season? You've got Jakob running around with Nokken and Pinky Sanchez.
You're right.
And we can't forget, Delirious was part of the BDK at one point, of course, against his own will, but... And then you've got Kevin Condron, formerly Kid Cyclone.
Now, do me a favor. We've got to go to the top of the hour break, network break. But there are some questions about this, Pinky Sanchez, Soldier Ant, and some of the things that are going on with that, which I think you might be able to answer, but I want to ask them after the break.
Well, okay.
Hang tight. Beyond...
I mean, we got to go to break.
Yep, got to go to break. Back in 5. Hang tight.
Eddie needs a refill.
That too. Be right back on Beyond Ringside Live.
Hello, everybody out there. This is Universal Soldier Phil Shatter, also TNA Gunner. 2 years in the making as NWA National Heavyweight Champion, making my way to the top as #1 in the world. And you are locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Lane.
And I'm the Cause, Robert Cosper.
And this is your invitation to join us
and the Hitman, Big Daddy Cool, Ryan Adcock, right here for the Saturday Showcase.
At Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific time. See? We do math around this place. Be sure to catch us right here on BeyondRingside.com. You can also listen through Winamp for Android and BlackBerry, as well as the Shoutcast mobile app for Apple as well. Remember, that's Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
And let me tell you how you can find the Hitman, Big Daddy Cool, Ryan Adcock on social media. It's very easy. It's at www.kissmyass.
Whoa. Stop that right there. Folks, we'll see you Saturday on the Showcase. Bye for now.
Oh, yes. This is Paul Bearer, and some people call me Percy Pringle III. You're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
This is Ace Haven from Pro South Wrestling, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hey everyone, this is the Cause, Robert Cosper, host of Cause and Effects Thursday Night Radio Throwdown. This is your invitation to join me, along with the Effects Stuart Couch, Mad Dog Dan Sawyer, and all of the craziness that is C&E, right here every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. It's wrestling radio with a twist, and some might just say with a twist of lime when the bar is open. Cause and Effect, right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
This is Dan the B7, the only Triple Crown champion in the UFC history, and you're listening to Beyond Ringside. You better pay attention, otherwise I know where you live.
The To Be Determined Show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Motor Fast Eddie Lane as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here live every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, beyondringside.com.
This is Mr. Controversy, Casey Cage, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
And set and ready to roll. You got it. 4 minutes after the top of the hour. Welcome back into Beyond Ringside Live. Fast Eddie Lane, Mark Mabo Bowman, Wicked Nemesis. Had things on the personal side of life to take care of this evening. And, of course, everybody knows family comes first. Of course, you can catch Wick on Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Central on the To Be Determined show. The trifecta is back in more ways than one. Beyond Ringside Live, going full scale this evening. Wrestle Rage with Smart Rage and Stan returns at 8 p.m. Central Time. Very special guest, Derek King from Wrestling with Death on WGN America. And the all-new Midnight Black Mass with the Reverend Dan Wilson. Had a great conversation with him earlier today. We spoke for about 25 minutes. I didn't mean to keep him on the phone that long, but y'all know how I can be. And
how's he doing, by the way?
He
all things considered from last week.
All things considered, he is slowly but surely, and it's an arduous process. When you lose somebody who is extraordinarily close to you, and he had a chance to tell me about the dynamic between him and his grandfather. And I can relate 110% because of the dynamic that I have in my family with my father's father and ensuingly with my father. So I can understand and relate definitely where he is right now. And slowly but surely, he's making his way back in. He's got a lot of family stuff on him right now, a lot of things that he's taking care of, and he's stepping up to the forefront on that one. So, and I've told him, it's like, dude, take your time. Family comes first. Whatever you need, you got. Plain and simple. I'm here. And the whole team is here. So definitely thoughts, prayers, good wishes, happy vibes, all of the above, still being and will be period, extended. I always have a hard time saying that. And it's weird for me because, I was watching this morning, and this is something I meant to mention in segment 1 also, and the sports community lost one of, and you can classify him easily as one of the all-time greats, legendary coach who made his name, especially at the University of North Carolina. I'm referring, of course, to Dean Smith, the man who made Chapel Hill the glowing community or the glowing city for basketball standouts. Of course, you got to remember, two-time national champion. I think it was more than 8 Final Four appearances, and easily one of the greatest basketball coaches of all time. Passed away overnight in his home. So, as someone who is,
he was like what, like 80 something years
yeah,
old?
yeah,
big freaking bucket of win for him.
I think
83.
83.
He passed away, but I mean, dude was like an octogenarian. I mean,
understandable, but still, by the same token, when you lose one of the all-time greats, it still makes you sit back and go, "Wow."
Oh no! I'm not trying to diminish, his loss or anything. I'm just saying, it wasn't like he went out like a schlub. I mean, guy went out on top. So big buck, as the podcast that Wicked and I are very fond of, is one of their sayings go, big bucket, big huge cauldron of win for this guy.
Yeah, big bucket of win.
Yep. And that's win, not wind, for you half-deaf retards.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry, you completely deaf retards.
Okay, that goes better.
Yeah.
And thank you to all the completely deaf retards who listen to the show in Braille too.
Yes. I'm still waiting on my transcript for the show.
Dude, I don't have that much free time. Free time? What the hell is that nowadays?
I'm talking about in Braille.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you just like to feel bumpy things.
Yep, that's why I date them girls with the venereal.
Stop it. Stop there.
You started it.
I know it. That was my fault.
That's on you.
There was a name when I was looking originally at the results from A New Start from Jakar, the season premiere. Noticing the factor of Pinky Sanchez, a person who we've had a chance to sit down and speak with, as well as interview and hang out with, formerly Pink Ant, if I remember my notes correct?
Well, I mean, he sort of was calling himself Pink Ant, but he was still going by Pinky Sanchez at the same time. It was sort of a mocking, if you will, an open slap to the face of the colony at the time when the Brooder Chef was in play.
Okay. And they made a reference, and I did not see A New Start. And that's why it's like when they start putting stuff out VOD, all of the above, I would love to be able to get a hold of it. They made a comment directed towards Soldier Ant and Fire Ant being face-to-face at one point.
Yeah.
Now, Pinky's been a part of the BDK for how long?
Well, I mean, you got to keep in mind the BDK was vanquished for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm. But that's something I still remember.
Well, yeah. But, I mean, it really fell apart when Claudio packed up and moved to NXT, or FCW at the time. But, I mean, Pinky was part of the BDK, but not part of the BDK that originally was with the Flood.
Okay.
When it was Otis and Tursis.
Okay.
So he was brought back in by Jakob.
And for those who have lost touch, explain the Soldier Ant situation with the BDK.
Oh, well, see, he's not really with the BDK.
Okay.
That's the thing. Long story short, this goes back about 2 seasons.
2 seasons, I think.
2 or 3.
Okay.
The original. Do I need to go to the complete origin?
No, not really, because most people who listen understand, and there have been those who have probably fallen out.
Yeah. Okay. Long story short, when Wink Vavasour used to be the director of fun,
right?
Also the son. I can't remember his dad's name. Conrad Vavasour, who was pretty much in charge of was it Global Conglomerate Worldwide or whatever. The people, the guys who bought Chikara and also owned Condor Security.
And wasn't that Tidor?
Huh?
Tidor?
Titor, thank you.
Not a problem.
But Titor, but that was a subsidiary of, I think it was a global conglomerate,
Yeah.
something like that.
CGI.
Something like that. Anyway, Wink started bringing in, and it was always hard for me to pronounce, Chikara-nomics.
Okay.
And I think part of it was Chikara Barometrics or something. I don't know. Anyway, he decided to shuffle around the colony back when Gakito was around, going into King of Trios, because he thought that by placing a Sail Ant in with Green and Fire Ant, that it would be a stronger number team, and then placing Soldier with Deviant and Combatant, the Swarm, which is part of Gakito, you know, that he could produce he could produce two better teams. So obviously that didn't work out, and so you know, Combatant ended up getting put out of action by Quack. Deviant kind of hung around, but he wasn't around too long. Wink had the brilliant marketing idea to come up with, because it worked so well in the 90s and early 2000s, Extreme. Came up with the Colony Force Extreme. That's with an X, not an E, X. And, you know, pretty much decked them out that if you were a kid that collected toys in the 90s, you know, you couldn't just get, there just wasn't Batman. You couldn't have Batman and then a Robin or any of the other supporting cast that you would love to have in your figure collection, so you could have a variety. No. You know, it's just like Batman, and then Batman with Arctic gear, and then tactical armor Batman, parachute Batman,
right?
Jungle Force Batman.
I think the better simile would be the Power Rangers.
No, Power Rangers. No, it would not be. No. Because Power Rangers were a rotating cast of kids.
No, because remember, in the first few seasons of the Power Rangers, you had different versions of the same Power Ranger.
No, you talking about Ninja Force?
No, I'm not talking about the different seasons. I'm talking about season 1, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They would have three different gimmicks for the same Red Ranger.
Well, explain.
God.
Trust me on this, Eddie. Is when they took anything that could be extreme, Arctic rescuing, you know, and
right,
and what was it? Snowboarding. No, or missile assault ant had the big backpack, which looked like a Boba Fett backpack, and then you had orbital adventure ant. They basically anyway. Long story short, Wink tried to extreme it up because it'd be better branding and it could be a colony for the new generation, and so he gave those to Soldier Ant to kind of control. Well, see, we got way off track on that one.
It could be worse. It could have been G.I. Joe and all the different similes of those characters.
Well, actually, that was almost kind of like with the old 3 3/4. How, you know, in the early mid '80s when they came out, they resembled military people.
Right.
And then as the '90s rolled in, they started throwing, you know, the hot neon colors on them and just making them ridiculous. That's kind of what they did. That's kind of what Wink did. He branded his extreme version. Anyway, didn't really work out between Soldier and the Colony Extreme Force, as well as he started noticing that his buddies, his brothers, you know, in arms, if you will, Fire and Green Ant started, even now Silver Ant, for those who don't know.
Right.
They started sort of accepting a Sail Ant into the fold, started, you know, kind of bringing him in. And they won King of Trios together. So Soldier he disappeared. And if you've seen Chikara Ashes, I haven't seen the full, you know, I've only seen what was released on YouTube. I haven't seen the full-length movie yet. But they, Green and Soldier go looking. Green and Fire go looking for Soldier. So, you know, and when he pops back up, along with the Flood, not really a member of the Flood, he is more looking like a prisoner of war. He's missing an antenna. He's got bullet holes on him, barbed wire. But it's almost what do you call those that like almost like not Munchausen syndrome, Stockholm syndrome, where
Okay.
you start to appreciate your captors and side with your captors and those holding you prisons.
The brainwashing takes place. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. It's kind of the same thing that's happened to Snow Troll from the Baltic Siege, and the last surviving member of the Baltic Siege.
There's something I want to ask you. Now,
Yeah, huh?
in the Ashes series,
Hold on, did we cover that though?
kind of, sort
About
of,
what happened to
kind of, sort of.
pretty much Soldier Ant taken capture by the flood, brainwashed. So he's kind of. But that face-off you were talking about, real quick to cover this, that face-off that you're talking about between he and Fire Ant,
Right.
they said that Fire Ant saluted Soldier Ant in that face-off, and for a brief second, Soldier Ant flinched. So he's still in there.
Right.
So hopefully that answers that.
It did.
Moving on.
When the Ashes series on YouTube progressed, now I have not seen the full length either, and that's my fault.
That's both of our faults. I mean,
There you go.
But that's the thing. You can only get it on VOD.
Well, then I'll just get it
I
on
would love to
VOD.
have- I would love to have a hard copy of it.
You and me both.
But yeah,
Call their
you can only
director
get it
of
on the
fun and see
VOD.
when it's going to be available.
Huh?
Call their DOF and see when it's going to be available, because it would be fun and he can direct it in that direction.
I think if it was going to be on a disc by now, it would.
Yeah, that would be a nice thing. Because there are some people who would genuinely like to have the full-scale version just to sit back and watch away from a computer.
True that.
See, I have my studio set up to where I can actually move back and watch. I have a network server set up to where I can watch it on a television. But there's times when I don't want to watch it in studio. And that's just me.
I think it would look great on like a nice flat screen.
I've got a nice flat screen, even though it is a 24-inch. I'm okay with it. I've got a 35-inch regular TV, but I got a 24-inch flat in studio.
Yep.
Yeah, me and Charter are going to have a nice long talk. But during the Ashes series, and I remember the episode where you said that, where you reminded me that two of the colony went and found somebody, and that individual handed over their outfit to Green Ant.
Yeah, the
I
original
thought,
worker ant.
okay, thank you. That's what I thought. You said Silver a minute ago. And that's what threw me off because they had the person handed the outfit over to Green Ant. He said, "You're no longer green. You're a worker now."
Yeah. Apparently that all gets explained in the more full-length version.
Okay.
Because if you remember towards the end of what we saw on the YouTube videos, Fire and Green hand over the worker outfit to Assailant and say,
Right.
"You're one of us now." Because remember, they were at the Fujiwara Arm bar.
Okay.
If you get that,
I
you
get
the
it.
joke?
I get it.
Yeah, that was the name of the bar. It was called the Fujiwara Arm.
I get it.
I know, right? You gotta love that. And so I think Crossbones was bartending. Anyway.
Now,
Huh?
nothing. Go ahead.
But yeah, so like I said, you know, there were some things that are in the there's some things that are in the full length movie that you know were not seen in the pieces that were put out through the YouTube channel.
Right.
I mean, I would like to know the explanation too. So.
I just wonder how much mousse Gavin Loudspeaker uses in his hair.
Actually, remember not much. I mean, remember when he used to have the weird, you know, Lisa Simpson.
Yeah, I remember that too.
I just realized it's Sunday. I just really got hit with the realization that it's Sunday.
And real quick,
the Walking Dead come back at 8 o'clock tonight. But.
yes, it does. And my father cannot be any happier. He has been like in hog heaven watching the 3-day marathon on AMC.
Oh yeah.
And
I saw that.
my father is kind of like, he'll sit back and go, well, I've already seen these things 4 times this year. It's like, Dad, it's a marathon. They're building up to the season premiere.
And yet he complains about them being on, but I guarantee you he did not turn away.
Oh, he ain't turned away yet. Exactly. The news can go to hell. He's watching The Walking Dead.
Exactly. Any other questions so far?
No, I'm sitting back going, now Chikara's actually got they're going to be, let me see, 2 dates confirmed in March so far. Out on a Limb is going to be March 7th in Gibsonville, North Carolina.
There's several. Oh, you talking about just confirmed for March?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. For some reason, I thought you said confirmed for the year. I was like, no, Eddie, they've got a full schedule.
I said they've got a number of events set up this year, but already confirmed for March.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Out on a Limb is going to be March 7th in Gibsonville, North Carolina, and Altar, Altar, Egos, is going to be March 8th in Norfolk, Vermont, in the United States.
And from what I've heard, all the titles this year for the various shows are taken from Arrested Development episodes.
Really?
Yeah, never got into Arrested Development. I heard it's a good show. Maybe one day through Netflix or what have you, I'll take a peek. But
and I guarantee you, Wick would be able to identify every one of them.
Yeah. And then everybody knows last seasons were all James Bond movies.
Now, also in April, for our friends who listen across the pond in the UK, they've got 4 dates already confirmed for British eyes only. April 3rd in Wolverhampton in the United Kingdom. Let Them Eat Cake will be April 4th in Wolverhampton. I hope I said that right. If I didn't, I apologize. Where's Daryl B when I need him? I haven't checked the chat room. That's my fault. I'm so sorry. Peer Pressure, April 5th in Cardiff, Wales, UK. And Afternoon Delight, April 6th in London in the UK. Well, I think that pretty much was self-explanatory. I didn't have to say UK on that one. I apologize.
Well, pretty much when you said all 4 dates are in the UK.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you just keep going, the UK.
I know. It's force of habit.
I know. Nobody's calling me.
It's force of habit on my part. And I'm rushing like a madman, and I know what's going to happen. Well, the chat room is kind of like not wanting to load. So for everybody over on .com who is trying to get the chat room to load this afternoon, I apologize if you're having trouble with it. Now, here's the thing. And for everybody listening on replay or listening live, either one, when you go to .com and the chat room loads, in case you haven't noticed, if you type a comment in there, it will stay until the chat room is cleared out, and that has to be done manually. Hint, hint, wink, wink. So if you make a comment in there for one of us on any of the shows, we will see it, and we'll get a chance to probably respond on air. Also, and I'm going to respond to Sudbury real quick, who made a comment last weekend. The telephone number link is active on the app. There are going to be segments in which we will directly open up the phone lines. So it's going to vary from show to show, and I can't speak for everybody on the network. I can't speak for everybody on the station, all the different shows. Remember, Midnight Black Mass is a recorded show. Reverend Dan is kind enough to send that one over to me. Saturday Showcase, we're going to be opening up the phone lines for direct line through the app at 11 a.m. Central Time. BR Live, we're going to start doing it at 6 p.m. Central Time. When Back to Basics returns, that's going to be a whole different ball game, because you're going to be encouraged to call in through the app or direct line in. Also, I've got a special surprise that's going to be coming out in one more week as it pertains to Back to Basics, because we will be getting a brand new toll-free number specifically for and exclusive to Back to Basics. So,
$9.99. Sorry.
Yeah, right. I said toll-free.
I couldn't help it for some reason. It just popped up in my head. I had to say it.
But from that vantage point, and like I said, I don't know what Wrestle Rage is going to do. I don't know what TBD is going to do, and I don't know what C&E is going to do. So they'll have that opportunity to open up phone lines on a local basis or international basis, because it's like if you're up in Canada or over in the UK or over in Japan or whatever, I think it's going to be just your direct line over to the US, 205-316-9900. So we're going to add that dimension back to Beyond Ringside, but listen to the individual shows, live or replayed, and they can let you know exactly what they're planning to do as far as taking incoming phone calls.
I'm really hoping some people with some funny accents call in.
Funniness.
What?
Nothing.
I'm sure we sound funny to them, but
No, I know I sound funny as hell to them.
I just want to hear some people's funny accents. It'd be hilarious.
And folks, easy way to say it. You've heard us talk about Chikara quite a bit. We're both Mabo and I, and Wick to a great degree, fans of Chikara, as well as those who appreciate the Wrestling Is brand of promotions. There's a lot of crossover between the two. And of course, there is another side to it all, and that would be Kaiju Big Battle. If you've never experienced Kaiju, now I've got to ask, and this is just from me to you, this is just speculation. Does it seem like that there is a little bit more crossover between some of the stars of Kaiju and Chikara now?
No.
Okay, because it looked like there were some characters who'd been on Kaiju who are now coming over to Chikara.
No, I just usually, well, keep in mind, Dr. Cube was not the actual Dr. Cube. Dr. Cube was Jakob. So, you know. And as far as, your Wrestling Is banners and all that, all of them are shut down except for Wrestling Is Fun, and I still haven't heard anything about Wrestling Is Fun lately. So
right.
I think Chikara has pretty much all their satellite companies. Well, all of them were shut down by various parts of the flood except for Wrestling Is Fun.
Right.
So I haven't heard anything lately about Wrestling Is Fun and or the banana. Nobody knows what happened to the power of the potassium.
Damn.
I know, right? The last known possessor of it was in fact Juan Francisco, if I remember correctly. I want to say it was Juan Francisco. But I guess maybe Chikara pulled in Wrestling Is Fun. Well, no, I haven't heard anything about this season, but if I'm not mistaken, they hosted Wrestling Is Fun hosted Tag World Grand Prix last year.
Yeah.
And Young Lions Cup. They hosted Young Lions Cup, remember? Because Heidi Lovelace won it.
Correct.
So I haven't heard anything about it from them for a start of their 2015 season, but we're just now we're a month and a half in. So
yeah, in theory, we're a month and a half in.
Yeah. So I mean, and anybody knows any? Yeah, I'm picking my nose if it sounds weird.
Thanks for playing.
What?
No, continue, please.
I'm sorry, I had a booger in my nose. God. Call. But anybody knows the Chikara group, the umbrella at one point. They usually took December and January off.
Correct.
Sometimes even November, December, January. Because they're up in the Northeast, and as we saw, 2 weeks ago, what happened?
On more than one occasion, a number of different snowstorms went through.
Yep, and then I heard there's supposed to be one hitting Boston soon, so that's why. So, hopefully we'll hear something from Wrestling Is Fun. But, you talked about back when Chikara was out of business, the connection of it seems like all the, the different people from Chikara were, if you go, it kind of takes us back to Ashes. If you go back to the clips that were available of Ashes, I think they might have taken them down. Not sure. I have to look into that. But when 3.0, two guys who I'd love to have on this show, love to interview Big Magic and Scott Jagged Parker. If you go, when they find Archibald Peck in Parts Unknown, on the chalkboard, which that chalkboard, that's something that you could pause and spend hours looking at. It had wrestling is cool, wrestling is hard, wrestling is intense, kaiju, wrestling is art or awesome, wrestling is respect, wrestling is awesome or art, whichever one wasn't used before, and then there was an exclamation point. Well, if you took all of the letters that followed the wrestling is phrase,
mm-hmm.
the way they were spelled out, spelled Chikara. And the K in Chikara was Kaiju. The exclamation point, if anybody knows, wrestling is fun, it's not just WIF, it's WIF exclamation point. That was the exclamation point. So that was one of the other many clues to let you know that Chikara was not truly dead.
Right.
So, but switching gears from Chikara, if you're done with questions.
Actually, I'm good right now because I know that we're going to try to get some of the stars of Chikara on a little bit later on in the season.
Hopefully.
Yes.
So what have you had a chance to watch? That I finally I had one episode of Lucha Underground record. For some reason, it's still janking up all the other ones I want to try to record. But I did watch, I guess, the follow-up to when Brian Cage just decimated Prince Puma and ripped up the... By the way, if your company, if your title is cheap enough to be ripped up...
Now, I don't know about cheap enough, but you got to remember, Cage is fierce.
Oh, Cage is a hoss. Don't get me wrong. Cage
Right.
is a beast. And I know that's what they were kind of going for, but, dude, it looks like you and I could have torn that up.
Speaking of...
But here's my thing. Look, I watched an episode. It was the one where Johnny Mundo, poor John Morrison. God, he needs to go back to some place with television. And I don't mean Lucha Underground that's taped. By the way, it reminded me of, and by the way, I've got a week of Hulu Plus. They have Lucha Libre USA.
Oh, nice.
Back catalog. And all the NXT pre-network. So I might actually stick with Hulu Plus because, and I'm not, this is not me shilling for anybody. They're not paying me. But one, I can go back and watch a whole, everything before network NXT. But they also have Lucha Underground USA, which means you can watch it in order, and because sometimes they would get out of order. But it also can afford me to watch shows that are network that I missed, like Fresh Off the Boat on ABC, which kind of reminds me of the hit from last season. I heard it's doing pretty good this season too. The Goldbergs, how it's he kind of retells growing up in the '80s.
Mm-hmm.
This same concept, similar concept with Fresh Off the Boat, but it's an Asian family, and he's telling his perspective of growing up. One coming from Washington D.C., which Washington D.C. Multicultural. Moving down to Orlando, Florida, which at that point still hadn't become multicultural as it is right now. So basically, one being a transfer down that way, and two growing up in the '90s. So still a little bit reminds me of the Goldbergs, but it was hilarious nonetheless. I was able to watch the first 2 episodes thanks to Hulu Plus. Also, they've got a bunch of originals, animation and live action. One show, the actor named Tyler Labine. Tyler Labine. For those of you who don't know who he is, if you've ever seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil, he is Dale. Or he could be Tucker. I don't know. He's the bearded one. He was also in Reaper, the funny show that used to be on UPN. He has a show called Deadbeat where he's basically a slacker who can talk to the dead, ghosts and all that. It's very funny. So if you want to watch, since we're going to I'm about to bring it back around, full circle, wrestling. You ready? If you want to watch pre-network NXT or Lucha Libre USA, then check. Even if you want to try it for a week, it's normally $7.99 a month. I know we're still kind of in somewhat, iffy economic times. Nobody's getting too much of a boom, but gas prices have gone down, so that's
Yay!
Fun. Yay! I know, right? And me without a car. Go figure. Then at least try the week free trial. Just go like Hulu Plus, and check it out. And that way you can watch pre-network NXT, and I think they even have some FCW. I know they still got some main events, so they've got a bunch of stuff that's not on the network, believe it or not. So go check that out. Check out old school Lucha Libre USA, where they were doing the anti-immigration gimmick long before Zeb and Jack Swagger got a hold of it. So yeah, go check it out. But back to Lucha Underground, it kind of reminded me of Lucha Libre USA, to where I've never been a fan of. That's why I've kind of fallen off of Impact. I'll still watch it every once in a while, but there's taping a month in advance or whatever, and then which kind of is what Impact's been doing.
Yep.
But then you've got like Lucha Underground USA, Lucha Libre USA. If anybody remembers, what was it? Wrestling Society X.
Yep. MTV.
That was on, which I have. I may or may not have made bootleg copies from Netflix of all of Wrestling Society X. And I really wish that would have continued. And if you do ever get on Netflix, if it's still available, and you get the discs, get it. You get to see. I'm not gonna say a young Jimmy Jacobs because he's still been in the business a while, but you get to see Jimmy Jacobs. You get to see Tyler Black, aka Seth Rollins. You get to see, some of the old, we consider them older stars now, but they weren't that old, a couple years ago. It's really fun. You just check it out. Anyway, but I've always had, I'm not going to say issues, but with companies that tape 2 or 3 months in advance.
Yeah.
And then tape it like it's a TV series. Impact doesn't tape it like it's a TV series. Because they try to, with the small break they had from transferring from Spike to, was it Destination America? They've always taped they did a month in advance, sometimes a month and a half too, but they taped it like it was a wrestling show, not a television show. If you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
To me, Lucha Libre USA, Lucha Underground, Wrestling Society X, and I'm sure there's been more. To me, they tape like it's a TV show, and that just bothers me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's almost like they have. I mean, there's always an end game when any angle is ever booked. Ultimately, there is an end game, but it just seems like their end games are almost like season finales.
Right.
Whereas WWE, TNA, WCW, when it was still around, they have end games, but they transition because they know there is no break. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Their break comes on a Wednesday, and then ends on a Friday, and then 9 times out of 10, I don't really know how much Impact is doing these days, but with WWE, their off day starts as soon as they leave the hotel. Your SmackDown, or if you're doing a house show for the Raw brand on a Tuesday night, your off day starts when you leave, and that means you got to get home. Most of them usually get home around Wednesday, depending on if they're flying or driving. So they've got Wednesday, Thursday to pay bills, and we talked about this on the show before. Pay bills, do laundry. If you have family, spend time with family. If you have pets, spend time with pets. Get your affairs in order, and then Thursday they got to pack back up, or Friday they got to pack up and be ready to be at the next town on a Saturday.
Right.
So yes, there's ends to the angles, but everything flows. Those shows that I previously mentioned, it's like we filmed 13 episodes, which is what you do with a TV show. You film 13 episodes, started the script, ended the script, that's it. And I just it bothered me. And maybe I can understand Lucha Underground a little bit more if, I had been at, the beginning, which, one, I didn't know I had El Rey, and then two, if it had been working properly.
Yeah.
I could watch it, you know what I'm saying? But don't get me, I mean, in-ring action itself was great. Drago and Aerostar. Oh my God, that match was awesome. I think that match was just amazing. And then the little subtleties that like Drago did. If you notice, and I don't know if you caught this, Eddie, but anybody out there, who's seen that episode or seen Drago, I guess in previous episodes, he has a tongue. It's not his tongue. I mean, he's sticking out flicking a tongue like a reptile. But it's not like if you or I were to use our actual tongue. It's like he almost has like a gummy tongue in his mouth. Like he has some kind of prop, and he'll kind of slide it out and then slide it back in. And I thought that was hilarious because it looked very dragon-like. But yeah, I thought those two guys put on a hell of a match. And yes, I kind of, verbally rolled my eyes at now he's Johnny Mundo. But it's always good to see John Morrison, John Hennigan, whatever he calls himself these days. I always thought he was a standout. And honestly, I wish he got pretty good treatment. Tag champion, Intercontinental champion, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Did he ever hold? I think he even held the Heat CW belt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he did, because that was the whole Chris Benoit tragedy. But I always thought he was a hell of a performer. I thought I figured he's remained somewhat loyal to Vince. I mean, he's done, he's doing that, but that's not a real threat. Nothing's really a real threat to WWE. But, he could have been one of those guys that jumped over to TNA.
WWE's biggest threat is themselves.
Yes, which I don't know if you've seen that article, but I guess with everything going on, so there's some kind of financial analysis. Financial analyst has said that WWE is doomed and probably will shut down within the next 2 years.
Yeah, WWE needs to go ahead and tell you what. Do me a favor. We blew past the 30 break. Let me go ahead and take it here.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
Oh hell, we did. Look at that.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is,
when I start rambling like that, you got to say stop.
No, because normally you're entertaining when you do it, and I hate stopping you because I'm afraid you're not going to find your point again.
I probably won't.
There you go. Hang with us. Going to go technically to the bottom, but yet the top of the hour break, we're going to condense everything and set it up for the home run round on Beyond Ringside Live. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
When planning your next party or special event, insist on the best. Full Range Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, Full Range Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.
This is Merciless Ray Mercer, Olympic gold medalist and board member of Find a Dream, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Smart Rage from Wrestle Rage Radio, coming to you from the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Join myself and my co-host, Super Stan Grubb, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern as we present Wrestle Rage Radio, where we rant and rave on everything in the world of pro wrestling. Sometimes we'll have a guest. Sometimes it'll be just me and Stan BSing about the sport that we love, pro wrestling. Check us out. Tune in Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, only on the Beyond Ringside Network.
This is Danny Cage from the world famous Monster Factory, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hey, this is Stuart Couch from the Cause and Effect Thursday Night Throwdown. Catch us here every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on BeyondRingside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
This is the Crowd Wrestler fan, the 30-day Wills. It's Robbie Davis. And believe me, you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Lane.
And I'm the Cause, Robert Cosper.
And this is your invitation to join us
and the Hitman, Big Daddy Cool, Ryan Adcock, right here for the Saturday Showcase.
At Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10, 9, 8 a.m. Pacific time. See, we do math around this place. Be sure to catch us right here on BeyondRingside.com. You can also listen through Winamp for Android and BlackBerry, as well as the Shoutcast mobile app for Apple as well. Remember, that's Saturday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
And let me tell you how you can find the Hitman, Big Daddy Cool, Ryan Adcock on social media. It's very easy. It's at www.kissmyass.
Whoa. Stop that right there, folks. We'll see you Saturday on the Showcase. Bye for now.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling fans from around the world, I'm Lightning Mike Quackenbush, the master of 1,000 holes, and you're locked in for Beyond Ringside.
Everybody, it's Jakara's finest, the chocolate ice cream dream, the backcourt bandit, Sugar Dunkerton, letting you know that you are locked in to Beyond Ringside. Shoot. Do not turn that dial.
This is Wicked Nemesis, and you're listening to Beyond Ringside.
This is Angel Orsini.
This is the Human Hand Grenade, Danny Only.
This is Dirty Dutch Mantel.
This is Liz Savage.
This is Vinny O'Brien, 2010 Golden Glove champion. This is Gabe Sapolsky from Dragon Gate USA and Evolve Pro Wrestling, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.
And keeping the ride going in more ways than one. 10 minutes before the top of the hour, Beyond Ringside Live continues. Thank you to everybody catching us live, and thank you to everybody catching us on replay. Whether it be here on Beyond Ringside Radio itself, which of course is always available through BeyondRingside.com, through Shoutcast, Winamp, TuneIn, as well as the Beyond Ringside Radio app. You can catch the replays through the media page at BeyondRingside.com, through Podomatic, P-O-D-O-Matic, as well as Spreaker, Stitcher, iTunes, and iHeartRadio. Look for us on the Shows tab of iHeartRadio's mobile app. Catch the best of Beyond Ringside all the way across the board. The trifecta continues real quick. Once again, in about 1 hour and 10 minutes, Wrestle Rage Radio kicks off. Very special guest, Derek King. And the Midnight Black Mass at 10 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. Eastern. And it will be a revised version of Part 2 with Air Paris, courtesy of the Reverend Dan Wilson. Fast Eddie Lane behind the control panel. Mark Mabo Bowman coming on back in. You were making a reference to certain people trying out with Lucha Underground. Former AAA Cruiserweight Champion Jack Evans is slated to
Jack Evans. That was the other one.
Yeah.
Speaking of Wrestling Society X, he was one of their standout guys. But yeah, Jack Evans. God, I hope he's gotten some better ring gear, and I know it's not what you wear, it's how you perform, but he dressed like he was Eminem.
There you go.
And he would wrestle with the one pant leg rolled up, and for God's sakes, I hope he tremendous high flyer. Oh my God, I cannot take anything away from Jack Evans. Tremendous high flyer. Amazing. But for Pete's sake, I hope he's got some better gear at this point.
Also, top indie stars and people that we're very familiar with here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network and Beyond Ringside Live. Willie Mack, a lot of you know him from Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, as well as Mach 1 Pro Wrestling when it was active in Southern California. Shane Strickland also impressed Lucha Underground officials. From there, Mack may be signing a deal soon, but according to reports that are out right now, Strickland, Jeff Cobb, former Olympic wrestler, and former WWE Tough Enough participant Martin Cassius, or Cassis, how do you pronounce it? They've all signed... Cassius? Close enough. They've all signed with the promotion after recent tryouts. Cassius, Strickland, and Cobb are expected to get new names. Of course, Cobb will be starting as a regular on TV soon. The others will be appearing in the next few months as well. And I think that you're talking about shows that tape in advance. and I've got to sit back and say this, for as much as people are, hey, I got the spoiler for Impact, I got the spoiler for SmackDown. Notice how not that many people are posting spoilers and advances for Lucha Underground, and I'm appreciative of that.
Yeah, actually, they just held a held a taping over the yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. And a good Facebook friend of mine took his kid, and his kid was able to meet Matt Stryker, and he said Matt Stryker was very nice, taking pictures with everybody. So there you go. And to go back, it's good to see Vampiro.
Yes.
He's always had his detractors, both in the States and in Mexico. But I've always been a fan of Vampiro. Always liked Vampiro. So he might not be in the ring anymore, but it's great seeing him. And you know what? Good on Lucha Underground for not being afraid to show blood when necessary.
Of course. Look, and this is something that we've all discussed on this show, on Tuesday, on Saturday especially. There is a time and a place for everything. And from my perspective, it's simple. Not every match on a card, the only exception to this rule would be Lockdown. Because if you're going to have a steel cage match, it doesn't make sense to have a steel cage match if somebody's not going color. Somebody's not having blood. And this has been one of my major issues with WWE. I understand their logic for not wanting to have blood. But it takes away a dimension of the entertainment factor of the product. Cough button. And from there, I forgot that Hitman's mic was still up from yesterday.
To me, it kind of takes away the believability.
I was going to use that word, but I held up because remember, I was making reference to WWE.
Still, regardless, if you're going to have any form of steel cage match, and people's heads are repeatedly rammed into it, raked across it, whatever. Eventually, for believability purposes, and you could do, no matter how hard you work out, no matter how hard you train, no matter how hard you inject a needle into your butt, use steroids, it does not help your skin itself. There's no squat or lift or thrust or curl or row that's going to toughen your skin, unless you count laying out in the sun.
There you go.
And you just get all leathery like George Hamilton. There's a call back there, kids.
There
George
you
Hamilton.
Go. Go
anyway, so just if you repeatedly rake somebody's face across a cage or ram it into the back when they had the old WWE had the old Big Blue cage, which I loved personally. I always liked that one because it made it so much easier to climb.
Yeah.
So much easier to climb.
Well, if climbing a cage was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Huh?
If climbing a cage was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Well, I think they had it mainly because
Hogan.
Hogan. Yeah. Well, brother, I might be in peak physical condition, but one of my 5 moves at Doom are not climbing over a cage. I need help.
And I'm sure Tony Stewart would have loved that one that much more when he was in that climbing cage phase.
Yeah, but if you also remember, like Bundy, I think it was WrestleMania 2 they had the cage match?
Yeah.
It was him and Bundy. Bundy, God love him, hell of a performer. Original initiator of the 5 count, not Big E. So, he couldn't. There's no way he could climb chain link fence. So it'd be easier for him to be able to put his feet in between those giant squares and climb. So, but back to the whole thing. You can't sit there and think, and we all like to suspend belief in that these are the quote-unquote superheroes and supervillains brought to life, that they're indestructible. But if you're going to hit them with a chair and they're supposed to react to it, then obviously if you're going to scrape their face repeatedly or hit it up repeatedly against metal, flesh is eventually going to give way and tear open and bleed. So when it's done properly, like you said, when it's done properly and in the proper context of a match, whether it be in a steel cage or street fight, what have you, then bleeding to me is, it's needed almost, especially if it's a steel cage match, because you can't have a steel cage match and not bleed. It just doesn't, seem right.
Look, I do understand the health risks involved in a number of different scenarios. And the one thing that I have to keep into consideration is that WWE puts themselves over as a different style of product. The curtain's gone, especially after this past Monday, the sit-down between Stone Cold and Triple H.
Which is something I'm glad you brought up, because I totally forgot about. And,
Oh, I haven't forgotten about that because of two simple things. There were two things brought up on that show. We can segue real quick. Matter of fact, no, go ahead and finish out your point about the cage.
No, that was it.
Okay. Yeah, because I've had a chance to speak about it, but I know you haven't had a chance to. But I'm going to go and lay this one out there. There were two facets of that conversation that really just stuck with my brain. Number one, the factor of Austin and Triple H talking about promos. And I thanked Austin publicly on Twitter, like that in $1.75 get you a cup of coffee at Waffle House, for the way that he brought it up. Because it is easy. I keep flashing back, and they show this on the network. The Teddy Long bit about SmackDown moving into the number 2 spot as far as aired episodes.
Oh, you talking about when he was like, was it the longest running?
Yeah, that.
Weekly running, second longest.
Momentous.
Episode.
Yeah.
Bacon, egg, and cheese.
Tonight's monument.
God bless
Teddy.
I hate to cut you off. God bless Teddy Long.
Amen.
Look, I mean, he brought us the not just the regular skullet, which for those of you who don't know, that's somebody who's going bald but still tries to grow a mullet, but the African American Jerry curl skullet.
Yep.
He gave us that through the 80s, and then when he finally shaved his head, and weight fluctuated, because remember at one point he was a plumper. He was a plumpy little dude. And then his teeth were missing. he was rocking an Abyss and a Cactus Jack. Had his teeth missing, and then picked up the refereeing reins back again in WWE. And then for some reason they decided to make him a manager. And he seemed okay when he was a manager, when he was with Rodney Mack and Jazz. But I guess the pressure of having to go out every segment and try to be the glue to hold the show together, he finally cracked.
Yeah.
Because, they say black don't crack. Well, apparently it did.
It did.
He has not been the same since. God bless him. I love Teddy Long. Holla, holla, playa.
And the other one that I was very thankful that they brought up was the factor of Austin asking Triple H, "Are you forever married to 3 hours?" And Triple H being honest enough and candid enough to sit back and say that it is hard to write for a 3-hour program. I think that took a lot of balls on his part to openly admit the fact that it's difficult to write 3 hours every week. Because you're not only writing 3 hours every week on Raw, 2 hours on SmackDown, possible main event when it airs, and then he's also working with NXT, which is moving to Wednesday nights now.
No, it has moved to Wednesday nights.
Okay, it's moved to Wednesday nights.
Pretty much when SmackDown left Friday, and if you notice, TNA took over the Friday spot, and SmackDown went to Thursday, and NXT was like, whoop, and ran over to Wednesday.
Yeah. And then, of course, you still got Championship Wrestling from Hollywood moved one day.
Yeah, it went from a early Wednesday morning spot to an early Tuesday morning spot.
Correct. Matter of fact, in the Central Time Zone, it broadcast on MAV TV, 4 a.m. Central Time, 5 a.m. Eastern. I don't know about the East. I don't know about the West Coast delay.
What do we say about the what do we say about the time zones, Eddie?
They're on their own. Especially when it comes to network television. Now, I can say for Beyond Ringside, we broadcast 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Central, 3:30 Pacific. Ted Guinness knows what time we air in the Mountain Time Zone because that's where he is. But it's a straight-through broadcast. We don't split the feed to broadcast Eastern and then Mountain. So when it comes to network television, they have their East Coast feed and their West Coast feed. I can't always sit back and say, okay, even though it's going to say 9876, if it's going to air live, that's one thing. If it's a pre-recorded broadcast, that's a totally different animal. So, see what I mean?
Right on, Carl.
There you go. But, yeah, I'm the way that they broke that down and the way that everything came into play, I really have to sit back and say, I liked this one because of the candid nature of the conversational style between Austin and Triple H. And I love the way he set it up during Raw. I'll manipulate Austin just like I manipulated all these people. That got totally thrown out.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely they dropped on. I mean, you could tell it was just like it was almost like I don't know their real life relationship. I mean, obviously they're on good terms. They both kind of came up together. I mean, obviously their paths crossed in WCW for a little bit, and then obviously when they came to the WWE, if not for the infamous Click curtain call in Madison Square Garden, Stone Cold probably he would not have gotten King of the Ring. So, I mean, obviously they probably got a good relationship,
right?
And to me, that's what it came off. In that interview, it came off as I'm not gonna say two close friends. I don't think they're over each other's house every day, but it came off as two buddies who don't really get to see each other that often. Kind of like myself and my friend Clint,
right?
Who I grew up with. We don't see each other very often, but when we do, we sit down, we reminisce, we have fun. And to me, that's what this interview came off as. Is it was more of a casual, two friends sitting around shooting the poop. Hello?
I'm with you. I thought you were going on a point.
That was the point.
Oh, okay.
That's how it came off. Silly Willie.
Now
that's how it came off to me.
Now, what sticks out to you as far as topics go that you can recall?
Well, I'm sure everybody's wanting to jump on the whole CM Punk thing. To me, that's the only. And then I'll kind of expound a little bit. To me, that's the only question or subject that they touched upon that Triple H's answer didn't seem genuine. That's just my opinion. Everybody's going to read it wrong, or read it wrong. Everybody's going to read it their own way. I read it that it, to me, it just came off just a little disingenuine. So, or not disingenuine, or just flat out lie. Almost, it was like he kind of had some bullet points in his head. It was like, okay, if somebody does come up with a CM Punk thing, this is what I can say, blah blah blah.
Right.
To me, that was the only one that just didn't seem like an honest answer. But as far as like what he said about China, I a lot of people thought, well, if he gets hit with that question, what's he going to say? And I think he came off as I don't know if politically correct is the word I'm trying to go with, but
yeah, that's right.
He, without going into details, without slandering her, because if you notice, he didn't slander her at all. Whereas she has gone on record, as having her opinion on the situations and everything, but, he was open and honest, and he gave his reasons why that, she probably wouldn't. I don't think he ever said she wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, but, he sat there and he said, I've got kids at home, and, when they get, he pretty much took it from his perspective of if his kids saw who China was, saw the name China and Googled it, yes, her wrestling career would come up, but then also her
adult film.
Yeah, and not just that too, but her issues with rehab.
Right.
And other things. The same could be said for, Jake Roberts. Everybody knows that Jake, he's quote-unquote battled his demons.
Let me jump in for a second and let me lay it out there like this. Let me do a reset. Folks, it is 8 minutes after the top of the hour on Beyond Ringside Live, Sunday night, Fast Eddie Lane, Mark Mabo Bowman. There is a difference between the backstage comparison of real-life Jake Roberts and real-life Johnny Lawler. Because in the court of public opinion, from my perspective, you can easily look at a success or a tragedy to triumph story like Jake Roberts has had, even though he's had multiple stints in rehab from what I understand. I may be wrong, but that's what I've heard. And someone like Johnny Lawler, who basically just went the hell off the deep end. And there's a big difference in the way those ships sail. Okay, Jake.
And no doubt. I understand.
I would have, if I had kids, and look, I was a huge supporter of what Joni did in WWFE. And basically, I knew that when the plastic surgery started coming, it was about to go really wrong. And from there, I would have no problem telling my kids about Jake Roberts and the demons that he faced, self-inflicted or otherwise, and the way that he has come out of it, courtesy of a lot of things, friends, great circle of support, and DDP Yoga.
And a similar situation to, I'm not going to say one struggle was greater than the other, but look at Scott Hall.
Yeah. I think Scott was more repeatedly in rehab than Jake was.
Jake might have done worse, but it was the fact that Hall kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Correct. Kept backsliding. Whereas,
and that's the other thing. It's well, and I hate to cut you off, but to me, I would say it's more. I'm not going to say easier to explain to a kid about substance abuse, but I think it's more. It's easier to explain to a kid substance abuse than it is to explain somebody going, banana sandwich and getting into the adult entertainment business.
Correct.
And then that's also going to lead, say the kids do get a hold of it, Google it, whatever.
Yeah.
They're going to want to know why Uncle Sean Waltman did what he did.
Yeah.
In that video too.
Yeah,
God bless him.
You're absolutely correct. And to put the world in proper perspective, it's easier to show where someone is today, like Jake Roberts or Scott Hall, who are definitely on the upswing from what I understand. Scott made a very successful return to television a couple of weeks ago on Raw Reunion. It was great to see him on there. But because of the stigma, and let's put the world in proper perspective. Let's go ahead and do this. People didn't give a damn about the sex tape. They didn't care about Kim Kardashian. They didn't care about Pam Anderson. Sure, they're fun to watch, whatever.
Actually, no, I think they did care about Pam Anderson.
Yeah, they did. Pam was actually hot.
Because that was actually, I'm not going to say that was the first one, because, who knows? Was Bob Crane, formerly of Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah.
he had his shtick that he was doing, but
Rob Lowe.
Well, but because Rob Lowe predated Pam Anderson, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
but
he did.
Remember, Pam Anderson was the blonde goddess, the every man's desire,
The Baywatch babe.
Yeah, so I think that's why it was more. Everybody was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. Have you heard? Her and Tommy Lee. And even guys were like, did you hear about Tommy Lee? He drove the boat with it.
Yeah,
So-
but taking that one step further real quick. But because it is what is still classified as traditional sex, one man, one woman, and I don't care who hears this and address all complaint letters to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, I don't care. But it is still classified as traditional sex, one man, one woman. And I don't know what all they did. I've never seen the movies. I've never watched the Pam Anderson tape. Never watched. I have no interest in Kim Kardashian. Had no interest in watching Joni and Sean. Or Joni and Chachi, for that matter.
I was going to say,
But yet,
I remember that one.
But yet, yeah, really. Erin Moran, still cute. Tiffany Thiessen, still cute, but pregnant.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I popped like a big dog for the Saved by the Bell reunion this week on a Jimmy Fallon show. That's about as crazy as Jesse becoming a stripper. Oh, wait. Sorry. But the thing, and they made it a point when Joni did that first Backdoor movie. And yes, that's what it was called, Backdoor to China. The fact of the matter is, it was released as a niche film, or a taboo film because of who she was. And then, of course, the She-Hulk crap came up. And it's hard, you can't tell kids about that. I don't care how liberal you are as a parent. It's a hard enough thing to talk about it, and you damn sure can't show it to them.
Yeah, no, you can't sit there and go, well, kids, just watch this.
No.
Especially if they're comic book fans, you really don't want to show them her work as She-Hulk in the Avengers and
That was just bad, from what I heard.
in the She-Hulk movie.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Well, no, allegedly, I've seen that thing.
I have not.
Look, everybody in the show, everybody who listens knows I'm a deviant and watches all this stuff. So, and I may or may not have some of this stuff
Still lurking about.
still lurking about. It's about 5 feet away. What are you talking about?
Shut up. Anyway.
Anyway, these.
Yeah, really. But to put the world in proper perspective, yeah, it's hard enough to talk about. And, you can sit back as the kids get older and say, yeah, Uncle Sean and, Joni got a little bit wasted and had a little bit too much fun and forgot to hit the stop button on the camcorder. You can say that. Allegedly. But when it comes to a commercial release for profit, you can't dodge that bullet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to be in the AMI market where it's leaked onto the internet or somebody cracked the cloud because, damn it, nobody understands the cloud. Sex tape movie, which I still haven't seen.
Is that not a good movie?
I haven't seen it. I love that
my
clip.
God. It's really funny. It's in the cloud. Get it out of the cloud. Nobody understands the cloud.
Nobody understands the cloud. Once it's on the internet, it's out there. I don't care who you are. I'm sorry.
I know it.
I don't care if it's Katherine Heigl or Kate Upton or whatever. If it's in the cloud, it's out there, kids. But
Kate Upton, good Lord.
Now, before we start heading for last call, I want to throw this one out there. And I think you know which direction I might be going in, and no, don't speculate. February the 11th, this Wednesday, NXT TakeOver. Uh-huh.
And I feel bad too because I haven't actually not since our revolution, whatever the heck they called it. I have not watched NXT.
Shame on you.
I keep putting it off, but for those who do know, I switched jobs, and it does. I'm not in the spot to where when I could come home, sit down and catch up on all my, any shows. Or as, as my Meemaw says, catch up on my programs. I can't do that now. Because, I come in at 3:30 4 o'clock, when I get home, by the time I, feed the guinea pigs, cook dinner, I could catch maybe something that, multiple recordings, something the night before I have to try to catch what I can on the live, the live play. So it's kind of hard for me, but it's not like I don't know what's been going on. Obviously, I read the spoilers.
Right.
So,
well,
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to it for a number of reasons. Of course, that Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens is going to blow up. That's good. And sooner or later, the two of them are going to have a ladder match to recreate for WWE NXT what they did for ROH.
See, I don't know. I mean, it's going to have to be later rather than sooner because, if Boomer Sooner, my God, he's off. Got him my winning, he's broken in half. Barbecue's off. If you remember, though, it hadn't been that long since
Ladder War?
Devil Bo Dallas.
Yeah.
So, and that was the headliner for a was it their first broadcast?
Right.
That they were testing it out for Mania. So, even though that's been a year ago.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's going to happen in the next month. I'm sitting back going that knowing the factor of how, and I hate to use this term, but I'm going to use it anyway, how indie-rific NXT is to a great degree. It really is.
Yeah, it really
because
is.
The reason why I say indie-rific is because of the fact that they go with credible, culpable storylines that people can wrap their heads and their hearts around, unlike a lot of the stuff that's on WWE's main roster. But so I'm sitting back, probably it'll be a summertime thing, and I wouldn't be surprised if they held off on that until SummerSlam, because I don't see them yanking the belt right off of Zayn.
No.
But let me go and lay this one out there. Let's go. I was going to go ahead and say let's go ahead and run predictions, but I'm going to go and lay it out there. Who would you pick right now, and how? Say Owen Zayn.
How would I pick them? I would sit there and weigh the pros and cons.
No. I'm talking about clean win, disqualification, screw finish, da-da-da-da-da.
Are we just talking about for the Zayn Owens match?
Yeah.
Or as I call it, Zayn versus Dan Sawyer Jr.
Damn.
I spoke with him the other day. What was I saying the other day? It's for like 2 weeks. I spoke with him and I told him, I was like, hey, are you okay with them, ripping off your look? And he just kind of laughed it off. But, they're not going to take the belt off Zayn.
No.
I just can't see that happening. I got a feeling though it's going to end. It's going to end in either a no contest or a disqualification. Now, who's going to win because of the disqualification? By the way, is there any stipulation to the match other than it's a
not that I know of?
Huh. Well, barring that, I think I say a no contest. I say no contest or some form of disqualification, double disqualification. Something. Something's going. That's hard. Something's going to happen. But there's not going to be a clear cut winner.
Right.
So that's just me.
I understand the concept. Also set for this Wednesday night, February the 11th, Baron Corbin, Bull Dempsey. Care to speculate?
Oh, Baron Corbin.
Baron, not Darren. Baron.
I was like, and then because I thought you said Baron Corbin, I'm sitting there going, who the hell's Bull Dempsey? I'm Baron Corbin, because that's their next big build. Is Baron Corbin, so I'm saying Baron Corbin.
Okay. One of the matches that I'm genuinely looking forward to, and I was going to hop, skip, and jump, but I'm really not going to at this phase of the game. But one of the matches that I'm really looking forward to is, oh, son of a bitch. What? Pardon my language. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that. My computer just glitched on me. I hate it when that happens. I get ill very quickly at modern technology, even though I've been working with it since the 80s. It's not that modern anymore. It just sucks. Is the women's four-way. Charlotte defending against Bayley, Sasha Banks, and Becky Lynch. Now, if I am, and this is where I'm on the outside looking in, but you know that a couple of the divas are seething because the women's matches that have been taking place on NXT have been blowing away everything on the main roster. And even Triple H said that he would like to see the divas get more time. I would rather see women's wrestling get more time on the main product than the crap that they're putting out there. And the fact that they're selling Paige up the river to make her change her look to a more glam style sucks. I'm going to hate to see what they do with one of these four when they come up to the main roster full time. But I'm really going to sit back and say this. For the critical acclaim that has been placed on previous NXT Women's Championship matches and NXT Women's matches, I think this is going to blow it all out of the water. Because I think these four, if all four are healthy and on top of their game and their heads in the match, these four will have a possible match of the year candidate. It'll never be acknowledged on main roster because it's not a divas match. But I honestly think at this moment right now, 24 after the hour, Charlotte, Bayley, Sasha, Becky, this fatal four-way could have match of the year written all over it. Mabo?
Oh, I mean, come on, dude. I mean, you've just the matches that Charlotte has had on the past live specials with Bayley, with Sasha Banks, with Natty Neidhart. I mean, come on. I mean, I've never been a big proponent. I'm not a big proponent of anybody with the name Flair, first of all. But I never really, I've never been a big fan of hers. But
she can go.
Well, that's the thing is, I mean, yes, she's a second gen, but when she's for an NXT person, she's a little long in the tooth. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm not mistaken, she's in her 30s. I'm almost positive.
And based on the way that she's been working, that don't mean a damn thing.
Oh, but that's what I'm saying. It's just, sure she was around the business, but, I'm not, trust me, I'm not saying, Reed Flair, God rest his soul, David Flair, God rest his career.
There you
go. They had even a tenth of what their father had. And once again, everybody knows I'm not a fan of Ric Flair, but I know it just kills Andy Hudson and Brooks Logan to hear that. But well, no, you know what? I take that back. I hate to say this. She's only 28 years old.
Yeah.
Sweet Jesus, somebody needs to give her a facelift. I thought she was 35. Good God. Woo, she is not attractive. Anyway, to me, she kind of came in, and I guess it's a different story for second-gen female wrestlers in some instances.
Okay.
Like if you like Natty, for example. If you don't start out young,
yeah,
then if you try to come in and in your mid-20s, which she did, which Charlotte did, like I'm not sure how old Tessa Blanchard is, but whatever her age is, I'm sure she looks her age. She don't look like she's 8 years older. But regardless of the preconceived notions I had when Charlotte signed on. And I even remember hearing that she was signed on. I was like, because they had started her off as a ring announcer, if I remember correctly. But I just remember going, well, she's going to get, hot shot into the front of the line, and she's going to be the drizzling poops and everything. And then, when I first started seeing her on, what I could catch of the early incarnations of NXT before it went network. Right. Not 100% the best, but she did show promise. And, I guess through training, they've shined her up to where, you know what, she is really good. I don't really care for that weird gymnastics flip she does on the floor, but that's just me. I nitpick. It's what I do.
There you go.
But you know what? I think she deserves her spot on the roster, on the main roster. I'm going to say this. She deserves her spot on the main roster now more than her father does when he keeps trying to come back and get one more match. And for those of you who don't like that, I don't care. That's the truth.
Dude, I hate to do it. It's 28 after and we got to roll. I got to do it for the last call. Take it on.
I know, but just real quick, if Charlotte is to lose the belt at this upcoming live event, to me, the one that's going to take it away is going to be Sasha Banks. She is the next in line to win the NXT women's title. That's all I can say.
I think it's going to be Becky Lynch.
I don't think Becky's had enough time. I mean, you know me. I'm a Bailey. I'm a Bailey guy, 100%. Love me some Bailey.
Yeah.
I wish I could have been down there. And you know what? Real quick, good for them. The NXT men and women who down in Orlando. Technically, I guess. No. SeaWorld's in Orlando. Who did the polar plunge to raise money for a charity? Can't remember what the charity is. Bailey was one of them. Becky Lynch was there. And God bless him, Finn Balor, Fergal Devitt. I don't know what the hell that boy was wearing. Go find his Twitter account. I think it might have came from Instagram, too. I don't know what the hell that boy was wearing, but God bless him. He's an idiot. I love him to death, though. It cracks me up. But
had a tremendous talent.
Oh, huge talent. Huge win for NXT and the WWE. But I'm a Bailey guy. Love Bailey. I think she's gorgeous. But I would love to see her kind of get the redemption that she needs from a couple of the specials ago when she lost to Charlotte. But I just think Sasha Banks, it's her time to hold the title. The boss of NXT.
Yeah, there are those, and I've got to sit back and say this. Remember how long that took before they put the belt on Sami Zayn? There are those who are better in role of challenger than as champion, and I think even if they give it to her, Bailey, that is, it won't be for long. Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch are two that they can actually make long-term title runs with because heel champions work out remarkably well. Charlotte rides that line and blurs the line to the point where it's like, you know that there's points where you can dislike her. There's times when you know that you can cheer her. Bailey is that tried and true babyface, the hapless, lovable creature that you would love to see, that you like to see get there, but it's kind of like the dog chasing its tail. Once the dog catches its tail, now what?
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah. You going to gnaw on your tail, or are you just going to chase the other direction to see if you can catch it faster the other way? But you see my logic on there, right?
I'll go for the other way.
There you go. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, got to do it. Mark Mabo Bowman, last call, sir.
Can't really think of anything last call. No, don't really have a last call.
Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and drop mine as well because I've had there's been a number of things that have been going on, but there's some things, and you know something? I may actually sit down in front of a keyboard and put it in print. There's a My Side of the Coin brewing, and it's going to be fun. Folks, want to remind everybody you can catch us live Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Central here on Beyond Ringside Live. The trifecta continues in about 26 minutes from right now. The Wrestle Rage Radio with Mark Rage and Stan. Special guest from Wrestling with Death on WGN America, Derek King. And tonight at 10 p.m. Central Time, the all-new installment of the Midnight Black Mass from the Reverend Dan Wilson. Rev, love you, brother. Like I said, if you need me, I'm here. Plain and simple. Live programming will continue also Tuesday, November. Holy hell. Am I
I'm
already?
pretty sure we'll have live program. So we'll have live programming too.
There you go.
Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.
Live programming will continue this Tuesday, February the 10th at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Beyond Ringside Back to Basics returns, and yes, that's the name I'm going to stick with. Thanks, Hitman. From there, Wednesday, February the 11th, the To Be Determined show, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thursday, hopefully everybody's back at 100%, as Cause and Effect present the Thursday Night Radio Throwdown, February the 12th at 7 p.m. Central, and Saturday the 14th. We're taking our lives in our hands on this one. On Valentine's Day, Beyond Ringside Saturday Showcase, there's some guys who are wanting to get shot, aren't there? Catch us live all the way across the board, beyondringside.com. TuneIn Radio mobile app. The Beyond Ringside mobile app for Android, Amazon, and BlackBerry, as well as through Shoutcast, Winamp, and a couple of other different sources that I may have forgotten to mention. Also on the taped side, the podcast replays, of course, don't forget Beyond Ringside Radio goes 24/7. Catch recent episodes and interviews right here on Beyond Ringside Radio and the Beyond Ringside Radio app. For the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis.
I thought we were going to do shameless plugs.
Do it. What? Okay, do it quick.
Well, look, the reason why I always say this because I normally don't do shameless plugs where I, put out my own stuff or whatever. But Wicked kind of said it on air. For everybody who knows me knows I have my friend Tiffany and her two little girls. They mean the world to me. Friday night. Tiffany's 3 cats got out of their apartment and they have disappeared and nobody can find them. They got out at Maple Village, which is in the Pell City area. So if anybody in the Pell City, Riverside, Eden, all the way up to Moody and Leeds, if you see, hopefully they're still together. They're all, housed together, so hopefully they're still all together. If you see what appears to be probably about a 2-year-old, 3-year-old male cat and 2 smaller female cats, probably about a year and a half, 2 years old. All 3 are gray, black stripes. They have collars, not tags, but they should still have their collars on. If anybody sees them, please reach me on my Facebook page, which is Mark Bowman, Bowman. These 3 cats, they mean the world to Tiffany. They mean the world to her 2 daughters, and they mean the world to me. Me and the male cat. He's like my little brother, and I spent all day yesterday, Saturday, from the minute I found out that they were missing. I got to her. I got to Pell City at 9 a.m. I didn't leave till dark, and I walked that entire complex. I crawled in sewer drains, best I could, given my size. Went through briar patches, trying to find these 3 cats. So if you need picture references, please feel free. I made a post yesterday. Feel free to look at my page, and you'll see what they look like. Please get in contact with me. Help me find these cats. I would appreciate it.
So you're not going to add the Twitter to that idea, that constant?
No, not worried about Twitter right now because the pictures are on Facebook. So.
Okay, cool. And for the record,
it's through Facebook.
You can also find him linked through the Beyond Ringside friends page and fan page because we have our links up there as well. And I'll just go ahead and let everybody know there are a couple of Mark Bowmans up on Facebook. Mabo has Robin Williams' Genie from Aladdin as his profile picture.
Wait, there's more than just one me on Facebook?
There's more than one you on Facebook.
Oh, God.
Yeah, just like I found there was another Fast Eddie Lane, and trust me, this guy looks he actually looks better than I do. But that's a different animal. Dude, I got to do it. Folks, thanks for hanging with us. We hope you had a good time. Stick around. Wrestle Rage Radio kicks off in about 22 minutes for the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis.
Thank you all for listening. Go out and support your local independent wrestling. The Sevenfold Saints and myself will be appearing, hopefully, at a an event near you because, as everyone knows, it's not an event unless I'm there.
For Mark Mabo Bowman.
What he said.
This is Fast Eddie Lane saying join us right here next time as we all go beyond ringside. Bye for now.